One of the biggest problems people have about operating in a garage is how to paint something properly. You run into the big problem of dust when you're working. And then you have to worry about overspray, which is the paint in the air that obviously didn't go on the project. So a couple things you could do in the shop to get around that. For a long time, what people would do if they wanted to, say, spray paint their car in the garage, they would wet the floor down. But what we're going to do today is we're going to set up a system using tarps and put some hooks in the ceiling. And what we'll do is the tarps will be reusable. So every time I want to spray paint a project, all I have to do is hook my tarps up to the ceiling and I'm good to go. And if I want, I could wet down the floor. What that does is that makes it so the dust on the floor won't get blown up. Now, in the past, I've sprayed in the garage here, and I haven't had any issues with that. So today, I'm going to show you what we got to do this installation of the tarps, so you can do it in your own garage. When we start, we're taking some simple measurements. Okay, for this project, I'm going to tarp off everything from here all the way down, and from here all the way down to the side of the garage. Okay, the tools I have are going to be blocked off, so you don't have to worry about any overspray getting on the cast iron surfaces. So we're going to take some quick measurements. And right here is where I'll have it end. It is 15 feet. And we're going to measure to the other side of the garage, which is 10 feet. And we're going to need one for here and one for there, one for this side and one for the other side. Now we got to measure the height of what we want it to be. Now I'm going to go all the way up to the 2x4s in the bottom of the trusses in the ceiling here. But you know, you could go higher if you want. To me, it's going to be really hard if I wanted to go and attach it to the rafters and all that. That seems like a little bit of overkill. So we're at 8 feet on the dot, okay? So I need a tarp this length, 8 feet tall. Same thing on the other side, and the same thing for the front and rear tarps. Just went to the local home improvement store. I picked up two 10 by 12 foot tarps and two 12 by 20. Now I know what you're thinking. I need 8 feet tall. What I did was I figured play it safe. We'll go with a taller tarp, so I want to have maybe a little extra hanging on the floor, so overspray is less likely to go under. Better to have too much than not enough. Since my longest tarp is going to be running the length right here of this ceiling joist, and it's straight across, it's nice because I'll be able to set it up so I can go every 2 to 3 feet. Now when I'm going right to the left, it's going to have to correlate with the spacing of the joist there. With the tarp laid out on the ground, you can see that you have built-in little grommets. Now, you can always go and add them if you want. If you buy a tarp and it doesn't, or you need them in special sizes, you can put them in. But for this application, it's going to be easier for me just to use what comes on here. So what we're going to do, we're just going to measure the spacing between them, which is 37¼ inches. And we are going to transfer that up on the top side. With our location marked, we're just going to drill out a pilot hole. And next, we're just going to screw in one of these hooks that I bought. All the hooks are installed. As you can tell, they alternate which direction they go. This one is going inward. This one right here opens outward. I did that so if we have wind come and blow into the garage on like a nice summer day, you don't have to worry about it blowing loose your tarp and it falling into your wet project, which would cause a lot of problems. So everything is all set up. Let's hang this tarp. While hanging the tarp, there's a couple things you need to think about that I noticed. First of all, look and see where your garage door opener is. You could go around it if you have to. Originally, I started spacing out and measured the spacing from 1 to 1 to 1. However, after a little bit, it started to cause problems because one was off a little bit and it started, it set off the whole pattern on one of these. So what I did was I literally just went up there, drilled the hole, put one in, went to the next one, pulled the tarp up, figured out where it was and spaced it and hung them one by one as I went. And that helped keep everything on pace. Another thing to think about is lights. You don't want your tarp to really be touching lights. When we're done with this video, I'm actually going to push that back so it doesn't. Okay, you want to try to avoid lights because think about it, a hot light touching plastic is a definite fire hazard. You want to be safe. Another thing, think about where your airline is if you're going to be using a HLVP spray gun like I am. If you're not, you don't have to worry about it. Lighting in general is good to think about. You want to set this up in an area where you have a lot of lighting and you could see. Project's coming along great, as you can tell. Everything is hung up. And it's looking great. Corner seams like that. All you got to do is just get just a couple simple spring clamps, put them on the outside and seal it tight. The tarps being longer worked out great because, as you can tell, I got almost complete coverage on the ground too, which means you don't have to worry about wetting down the ground because obviously, you know, the tarp's covering it, so it'll keep all the dust down and to a minimum. The only areas that are exposed where some overspray could get out is up on the top. And you gotta remember, that overspray, that paint in the air, is heavier than the air, so naturally it's gonna go to the ground. So you really shouldn't get that much. You can see, I just finished doing the first coat in the project. This is the spray booth. And this is the rest of the garage. Well, I have no way to measure the difference between that and this. Visually, it's definitely a lot clearer outside. So this is definitely a success. Thanks for watching today's video, guys. Like always, feel free to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon.